So, good morning, everybody. This is September 19th. I'm Catherine-Emmanuelle Delisle, and I'm I feel privileged this morning to interview someone I discovered on Instagram a couple of days ago. His name is Tom Webb. He's the director of a groundbreaking documentary which is named The Easy Bit. And it's about the experience of fertility journey for men. So good morning, Tom.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So first of all, Tom, I would like you to tell us about your story and what led you to direct this groundbreaking documentary.
Well, my wife and I went on our own fertility journey. We took the best part of a decade, or just over a decade, trying to have a child. We went through a few rounds of fertility treatment, and the actual sort of IVF and ICSI that we went through failed, and we thought, okay, we were going to be a couple that was childless, not by choice. And my wife and I had a discussion about, it must have been about 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months after our final round, about her having a hysterectomy and it being the end of everything. And we happened to meet a gynecologist who suggested we try a couple of different things before she did that, just to tick off every single box. And we were extremely fortunate that that resulted in us getting pregnant and having a little girl. The easy bit came about because when we were going through the treatment, I just could not find any support for me. You know, I had everyone I worked with, all my colleagues were amazing, my family were amazing, but none of them got it. None of them understood. Like there was stuff that I, as much as I could open up to them about what I was going through, there was stuff. Sorry, it was a fly. There was stuff that they just could never understand. And particularly when we were in that period where we were trying to accept that we were going to become a couple that was childless, not by choice, I found really difficult. I think I've said to my wife and others afterwards, I think that's probably the single most traumatic period of my life. That like it really affected me, and I got to the point where it's like I have to have something positive come out of this. Like I can't spend that 10 years investing all of that emotion into this to not have something to show for it at the end of it. And that's at the point where I spoke to my friend and my colleague and producer on the film, Zara, and I said, I want to make a documentary. I've always wanted to make a feature-length documentary, and I now have a subject. And she thought it was a great idea, but made me wait. She basically was like, well, you need to be in the right headspace to do this, and you're not. You need to work on some things and just kind of, you know, make sure that you're okay to do it. It's a great idea, it's a great documentary, but, you know, you've got to consider that as well. So by the end of 2016, we decided we were definitely gonna make the documentary, and we started looking for guys, and we found 6 guys that were willing to talk on camera and share their stories, and that's where we've gone from there. And we're just finishing off the film. We're about to have our premiere in about 2 weeks' time. Or no, less than that. Sorry, what day is it today? 19th. So a week, less than a week. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Tell me, I'm pretty sure of the answer you're gonna tell me, but I'm still interested in knowing. Was it hard to find men who wanted to talk on camera about that?
It was pretty much impossible. And we were having absolutely no luck at all until one day, funny, someone I'd met through the world of childlessness is a lady in the UK called Kelly De Silva that runs an organisation called the Dovecote, and it's an organisation for childless women who are childless, not by choice. It's an amazing organisation, and my wife had sort of become friends with her, and I'd kind of connected with her as well. And there's a charity in the UK called Fertility Network UK,
yes.
and yeah, so their remit is to try and help couples, and they wanted to make some videos called Hidden Faces, where people talked about their fertility journeys. And Kelly sort of said, "Oh, well, Tom does video production. He works for video production. Maybe they can help out." So the company I work for helped out, and we shot a series of, I think, about 8 to 10 videos with people who are going through fertility treatment for all different reasons. And every time a man walked into that room, I said to them, "Would you like to be in a documentary?" And about 4 of them said yes.
Wow.
Which was amazing. And then that's where I met a man called Gareth Down, and he runs a Facebook group for men going through fertility treatment. Set it up as private group, and only men can join. And I joined that day, and I think I was member number 26, and now we're well over 1,000. Which is incredible, and that's global as well. We've got men from all over the world, from the US, from Canada, from India, from Africa. Wow. You name it. There's men from all over the world. And I found another one of the guys through that. I just happened to put a post out and say, "Look, I'm doing this documentary if anyone wants to be involved." Yeah, and then the one of the guys then put me in touch with another one, and we ended up with 6 men. And with those 6 men, we were lucky enough to cover off couples that have been successful, couples who have not been successful, couples who had male factor, couples that had female factor combined, unexplained. And it was really important to me that we cover all of those elements to this. Because I think the essence of what I wanted to show in the film is the fact that every single couple that goes through fertility treatment is medically unique, but emotionally the journey is universal. Yeah. So, if you watch the easy bit, then you see 6 men talk about their experiences, but you also see my story up there because it's the same journey. Like, emotionally, it's the same. It may have been for different reasons, but it's how I felt, and I imagine I'm pretty certain it's how almost every guy feels.
Wow, it's amazing! What a story to get to create this wonderful piece. Tom, I would like to know what is the most surprising thing you learned when you did this documentary. Surprising or disturbing?
There were a couple of things that were surprising. There were some real shocks that came about. I think so. Something that I wasn't expecting to happen was when we did the filming, we were in a studio, and the way the film's set up is the guys are talking directly into the camera, so they're looking straight down this, and each guy's got a different color background, and I wanted to completely isolate them as a human away from any environment. So we don't see the house they live in, we don't see any of that kind of stuff. It's just them talking. So in that room we had myself, the guy being interviewed, and my director of photography behind the camera. And I sat, so normally in an interview you sit opposite each other and you maintain eye contact, but I wanted them to look into the lens of the camera, so I sat at a 90-degree angle. So they could hear me, but they had to physically like turn to the side to look at me.
Yeah.
And what I wasn't expecting was how easily they spoke. Like I would ask a question and they would start, and then it would just flow out of them. And it became very apparent very quickly that they needed to talk. And sometimes I would ask questions that I knew I was never going to use, but I knew they needed me to ask it because they needed to talk about it. And we went through this process, and the interviews ranged in length from about an hour to one of them went to 4 hours long.
Oh.
And we sat in the room talking. And I can remember when the guys were sort of on their journey home, I'd always just send them a text message just saying, oh, thank you so much for today. Hope you're okay. And just check in, because it's, you know, it's a very difficult thing to do and a very traumatic thing to do. And I was very mindful of them, and we made it a very safe room, and they could leave at any point. Like if they needed to go for a walk, they could go for a walk, and we just sit there and wait if they wanted to. And I remember getting a text back from one of the guys called Alamin, and he was on his journey home, and he was just like, I've just sort of realised that I've never spoken about this in one go before, and I was just like, well, I hope you're okay, and I hope that hasn't hasn't upset you too much. And he said he found it really cathartic, and it was like a counselling session that he didn't know he needed. And I thought that was very apparent, because I think a lot of guys, they might sort of sort things out internally and think, I'm okay, I'm all right, I've got that under control, and they don't quite actually know there's still a bit more there. You still actually talking out loud about it is very, very good for you. And when we went to film a little follow-up with Alamin, he actually said to me that making the film had made him realize that being vulnerable makes you stronger.
Oh.
And I was so blown away by that. And it hadn't really occurred to me that this film would have an impact on the guys taking part, like it would be a positive thing for them. I was worried that it would dredge up things that they didn't need, and it would be, you know, hopefully not damaging. I didn't really consider that actually it could be a cathartic process. And you know, something that Gareth always says about his Facebook group is, if it helps one person, then it's absolutely worth doing. And that was the mentality that I went into the film with. And to get to the point where no one's even seen it, and I feel like it's helped people already, that was really satisfying, really fulfilling for me, but also not something I expected at all.
Wow. I was really touched by what you said, because I think that is what drawn me to get in touch with you, because when we share our story, our infertility story, our struggles, it's really, like you said, it surprised you how cathartic it is. But there's not a lot of room for our stories, and certainly the men experience of childlessness. So I just want to say thank you for these men. It's really touching what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean that they're incredibly brave, and you know, I'm proud to count them as friends, and to know them, because I think what they've done is just, I mean, it's incredible, and I think it's gonna. I think it, you know, if we can get it out to a wide audience, I think it's going to do a lot of good.
Yes.
You know, and I think it'll be good for the medical community as well. We've had some feedback from doctors and neurologists and gynecologists who've seen excerpts of it, and I think it's been a slightly humbling experience for them.
Wow.
To see elements of the man's journey that they hadn't really taken into account or considered. I think that's a rather big deal as well. So I'm hoping that it's gonna make some waves.
So to end this wonderful interview, I just want to know where and when can we see this wonderful film for the first time?
So we have our premiere in London at the Raindance Film Festival on the 28th of September. And we're at the moment looking at where we're going to place it and how we're going to distribute it after that. We haven't got anything locked down just at the minute, but we have got some good ideas of where we're going to pitch things and platforms that we can utilize to get it out. And our main goal is to get it in front of as many people as possible, and to do that on a global scale. So hopefully within the next sort of 6 months or so, we'll be able to announce at least where it's going to be and how people are going to be able to see it. So yeah, that's the next step we're working very hard on. So if you follow the easy bit on any of our social channels like Twitter and Instagram, and we've got a Facebook page, then that's where all the announcements will be, and we'll keep you posted as to when and where it will be available.
That's perfect. Thank you. So Tom, thank you very much for talking to me this morning. It was a pleasure to discover your story and your experience through this creation of this documentary. And you can count on Femmes Sans Enfants to promote this globally, because it's, I say it again, it's a very, very important and groundbreaking work. So merci, Tom, for this interview. And did you talk in French there?
I tried. I'm not very good at French.
So I wish you good luck with the premiere, and let's keep in touch.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.